Next guest is the Brooklyn. I almost want to say New Jersey because I'm old school, and that's what they used to be. Brooklyn Nets announcer, FSHD advocate, Chris Carrino is joining us, and I see he is wearing his Carrino Foundation shirt. I love it. I love it. Hey, Chris. Good morning. How are you?
Well, Tim, I'm great this morning. I want to point out for people that don't know what it's like to interview people or be on the air, what you're doing is a Herculean task. The fact that you are on all day long in your room by yourself, having to engage people. I always tell kids when they want to be like sports talk show hosts, I would say, go take your phone.
Yeah.
You think you can be a sports host, you can think you talk. Go take your phone, go in your room and try and be entertaining for 10 minutes. And then extend that to 20 minutes and then see if you can do that for an hour.
Right.
Most people can't even make small talk for more than a few minutes.
Right.
And you are going to do this till what, like midnight? When are you doing this till? Like all day long?
Yeah, like all day long till like, there's a couple breaks in there. Everyone has to use the restroom and
You got
get
to
snacks.
eat. Yeah.
But yeah, but I do have a couple, little protein bars stashed away in breaks. I have a little cooler next to me with water in it. I mean, I'm kind of prepped, but I can't drink too much water because you know what that leads to.
No, absolutely.
So,
and you know what else, Tim? I think you should have done I think you should have gone like Jerry Lewis with the tuxedo.
Oh.
And then, but like an hour in,
yeah,
bow tie, just undo it.
Yeah, just undo it. Oh,
you look like you've been on the air for 20 days.
Oh my goodness, man! I should have talked to you prior to this.
I know we should have consulted each other.
We totally should have collaborated.
And you pointed out that I'm wearing the Carrino Foundation shirt. You can see I'm a radio guy because I'm just totally taking over this conversation. But you pointed out my shirt. I'd like to point out that you have a Ranger banner behind you.
I do.
Wait, aren't you living in Wisconsin? How is the Rangers getting it?
Well, I am a big Wayne Gretzky fan. I was when I was a kid. I was like the only hockey fan in the house, heck, probably in the neighborhood when I grew up. I had to teach everybody what offsides was. And, so I just followed Wayne Gretzky where he went. I was even a Blues fan when he was with St. Louis for that little stint. And then when he went to New York, that's where he retired. And then I just kind of, I just stayed and just kept trying to cheer the team on. So
it's great.
Yeah. That's kind of the backstory with the Rangers. I just kind of followed one player because here right in Wisconsin, we have minor league hockey. That's about
That's true.
We get. Yeah.
You would think you'd have a pro team.
You'd think so up here in the north, right?
Milwaukee,
yeah.
Maybe.
Right. It's cold here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the East Coast, right? You guys have a lot of hockey teams. You can't slide one our way. I mean, we'll take the Devils, maybe.
Yeah.
Can bring them over. I think get back to the green and red unis. And that'd be perfect here.
I'm with you. But I'm a big Ranger fan, so that's.
Oh, you are? Oh, good.
Yeah, well,
good. So then, okay. Well, you can keep the Rangers. That's fine. Tell us a little bit about. I mean, you had a crazy NBA season. COVID. You were locked in. Were you part of the bubble situation there?
I was not. When we did the restart, we did the games remotely, and I worked actually in Barclays Center in Brooklyn, which is our arena. When we had the restart, meaning the games started again in Orlando in late July, and of course the playoffs went through October, we actually used our usual broadcast location in the arena, and we watched the games on the Jumbotron.
Oh my God.
That's how I did all the Orlando games and the playoff games. It was wild. It was me, my radio partner Tim Cabstraw, and my engineer, and we were in a 17,000 seat arena that was completely empty, watching the game on a scoreboard.
Wow.
And when they're going to get back to work at the end of December, we'll be doing the home games. Obviously, I'll be in the arena for the home games. But when the team goes on the road, we won't be traveling. We'll be doing the same thing. We'll be in an empty arena watching the game on the scoreboard.
Wow. How hard is that to, translate the energy, when you're just by yourselves in this huge arena trying to broadcast the game, and I've heard some of your broadcasts, and you have the energy, right? It's a big play or something's happening,
Yeah.
and you kind of, get us right there. We're right there with you. And is that more difficult to do in that situation?
Yeah, the biggest part of it is the energy. You have to sometimes fake it a little bit. You have to pull your energy up. It's easy when you're in an arena and there's thousands of people cheering, where
Right.
they pull you up. Now you have to kind of do it yourself. As
Mm.
far as doing the game off the monitor, basketball's pretty easy because you see all 10 players. It's
Okay.
it's not like if you're trying to do football off a monitor where you're just seeing the quarterback in the pocket, or if you're doing baseball off a monitor, you're at the mercy of following the ball and you can't see where the players are running around the bases and things like that. So those sports, it's a little more difficult. But basketball, I've done millions of games. Well, I exaggerate a little bit,
Probably.
not millions, but many games
Yeah.
off monitor. I did the Olympics 3 times,
Wow.
like that, where I was sitting in a studio watching the games on a monitor and not actually being there. So it was not a big adjustment. But when it was playoff games last year, we played the Raptors in the playoffs, in the bubble in Orlando, and I've done hundreds of Nets playoff games, and I get so excited to do it. It's really a fun thing for me to do, and there's such an incredible energy in the arena for playoff games, NBA playoff games, and you walked into that empty arena watching the games with no fans on a screen. You definitely had to remind yourself to pick your energy up, to be
Yeah.
excited, to let it as if there was a crowd behind you. And the biggest compliment I've gotten on a few people that listened just said, I thought you were there.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
that was really our goal. Make people think we were there, not that we were trying to fool them, but just the fact that you have that energy that comes from being courtside.
Did you ever feel like you had this obligation to kind of give people the normal back by calling the games?
I was excited to do it. I think people were excited to do it, to get back on the air, to get the games. And again, I said at the time, I didn't think it ever replaced normal,
Hmm.
but it gave people something. It gave something that reminded you of what we were doing before. It was a little bit of making chicken salad, and I think it worked out well. I do think that you saw some of the ratings numbers and things were down a little bit. I think that had a lot to do with it's not the same experience when you're
Yeah.
watching as it was when they're in arenas with thousands of people, and also the fact that everything came back at the same time. So you had football, basketball, baseball, hockey all playing at the same time, and people were like, it was like you were totally thirsty and you went over to the water fountain to get a drink, and then all of a sudden it just started shooting at you like a fire hose. So it was like people were drowning in sports a little bit, and now it's coming back a little bit. I think now we just have football, and I think by the time basketball is ready to go, people will be ready to jump in again.
How about the challenge of having FSHD and doing what you do? I know the travel has been a little less because of the COVID season, but I watched the documentary that was done on some of your travel and some of the difficulties or struggles that can kind of give. Give people a little peek, I guess, and the insight of that, because that's kind of behind the scenes. We only hear your voice, and we're not really seeing how do you get there.
And that's the biggest challenge, and it's really why I keep going and going through the challenge, is because I know that I'm good at what I do and I can
Absolutely.
still do it. FSHD has not robbed me of the ability to call a game. And once I am sitting in that booth or sitting at that broadcast table and I have that mic on and the game starts, I can do that. And I can do that with the best of them. And I know I can. So that's part of the carrot that dangles out in front of me to get through all the other junk that I got to get through.
Right.
because I have that thing that I'm passionate about, that I'm good at, and I'll do whatever I have to do to get there and do it and continue to do it. Now, I have to do it in a different way. I have to get there in a different way. I rely on the kindness of friends and coworkers, people who, I call it a sacrifice because I feel, sometimes like I'm burdensome on the help that I need to get to certain places, to travel, to get up the staircase to the airplane,
Sure.
to get out of my chair, to get to the broadcast location. Some of the things I have to go through with hotel rooms, and accessibility factors there. I feel like that is something that I have to really challenge myself every day. It's a battle to say, hey, you got to fight through this. And
Yeah.
it gets worse, not to bring people down, but it every year it gets harder. But my hope is the inspiration I get from the people who help me. I do NFL games on Sundays for Compass Media Network's national radio broadcast. And we've actually been traveling to get to my assignments since the restart here in NFL. And I have my neighbor, who's a big, strong guy that can lift me out of a chair.
Yeah.
He travels with me.
Oh.
The owner of Compass Media Networks, he said to me about 4 years ago, would it be easier for you if you had somebody traveling with you to meet you? Because our crew comes from all over.
Mm-hmm.
He said, done, just have your neighbor. I trained him to be my spotter. So he's actually my spotter. And he travels with me, and we have a little scooter now that I fold up and we can throw in the trunk of a car and check onto the plane. And so his name's Ira Brofsky, and he has all of a sudden made it to where, in my mind, I don't have to give this up. And that's a really powerful thing. When you have those people in your life that will get you through to where you want to be, I mean, that's powerful. My radio partner on the Nets, Tim Cadstraw, he has always been there to physically help me with what I need. And then he jokes that he's moved on to management. Now he delegates other people. So I have our head of security, one of our security guards, Hiram Chan with the Nets, and one of our strength coaches, Dan LeBird. They will literally get me up the staircase to the plane, because we are on charters and we're not going through a gate and things like that. And make sure that I have the buses with the lifts and things like that. Like a few years ago, when it started to get really hard for me, where I started needing a mobility device and things like that to help me get around, I got to admit, there was a time when I said, I don't know how long I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim, I remember having a conversation with him at dinner one night, and Tim Capstraw said to me, when I expressed this to him, and he admitted that he sees it getting a little harder for me, but he said, well, you're not going to quit. He goes, I'm not letting you quit. We'll figure out a way to do it. We'll figure out a way to get you from place to place and get you where you need to be. You're still so good at what you do. You're not stopping. And if you can have those people in your life, and my wife, Laura, my son, Christopher, they are there with me on a daily basis. They see the struggles and they are there to help me. They never make it feel like it's an obligation or a chore.
Yeah.
And they don't expect me to quit either.
Right.
That's powerful.
That is. And just so I got goosebumps. You're talking like that. That's great stuff, Chris.
It
Because
will
you're
happen. And the thing is,
it's
Tim,
true.
like, you know this, and you're gonna be speaking with all different people who have this disease. And we know how it affects people in such drastically different ways. And some people are young, or some people aren't as affected. And not to scare people, but it's going to get more difficult for you.
Yeah.
It's a progressive disease. It doesn't slow down. Until we have a treatment or a cure, it's going to keep getting worse. But the good news is it happens slowly over the course of time. You get used to the loss of muscle here and there, and you develop stronger bonds with the people in your life. And you have to say to yourself, what is it that I still love to do? Those are my goals. Those are the things I'm not going to stop. The people in your life will help you do it. You'll figure it out. It'll be a different way. Maybe if you want to go hiking in the woods, I'm not going to do it on my feet or with a walking stick. I'm going to have to do it with some kind of a scooter that is high terrain, but I can still do it. There is a way. The things you fear right now that you're going to lose because of this disease, you can, with the people in your life and the help that you have, you will find a way to do it. Don't fear it. And then at the same time, we still need to work for a treatment and a cure, because maybe one day the fear that I have that I won't be able to do things in 10 years, that will be alleviated because in 2, 3, 4 years, we will have something that will stop the progression, and it will stop it in its tracks. And you'll be able to continue to live life the way you've gotten used to living it now. And those are the things that if I could get anything across to people with FSHD and go back in time and talk to my younger self, just say, it's going to be okay. You will find a way to do all the things that you want to do. You just might have to do them in a different way. And make sure that you cultivate those relationships in your life, that you be the kind of person that you would want to help. And then those people will find their way into your lives. I really believe that.
I just wrote that down. That's good stuff. Be the person that you'd want to help. That's solid.
Absolutely. That's
solid wisdom. I don't want to let you go though until we talk a little bit about the Carrino Foundation. I definitely want to cover that. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. I know it's been tough with 2020, but maybe in the future for 2021, is there events that you're hoping to have and get things going full steam ahead?
Yeah, our year kind of revolves around our gala in July, which now it becomes even even into next year. You don't know what'll happen, and plus now the NBA season is starting later. You know, we had booked the place for July 22nd, and now I find out that the NBA finals are going on until July 22nd, and you know, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and such with the Nets, there's a good chance that that's not a pie in the sky thought that could be in the finals. So who knows what that'll happen? But yeah, we started 10 years ago, 2011. So next year will be our 10th anniversary. We've raised over $1 million. All of it goes to research. You know, we're a farm to table organization. We're a small group of family and friends, and everything we raise goes to research. There's no overhead or payroll or anything like that. So it did take a little bit of the pressure off this year where we couldn't have our gala. I didn't have that pressure of having to meet a certain budget. We had done well with our money to save it so that anything we have committed to, we have some multi-year fund grants that we fund that we did have. I do have the money to make sure we pay off all those commitments. And then we were able to raise, we had a virtual event this year that you can see on our Instagram and our YouTube page. And, you know, where we tried to raise some money, and we did. And I'm really grateful, even today on Giving Tuesday, seeing some of the donations roll in from familiar names is heartwarming to me. I think it was important 10 years ago that when I looked around the landscape and I was ready to get involved in being an advocate for this disease, I said, what is it that I can do and how can I do it? And I kind of looked at it and I said, I've made a little bit of a name for myself here, at least in the New York area. If I could put my name on something and put a name and a face to this disease, I thought it would be important. And I thought from a fundraising standpoint and an advocacy standpoint, to put my name on a foundation was important. And it gave us an entree into presenting FSHD to the world of at least the people that were in my universe that didn't know what it was. And I think over 10 years, we've done a good job with that. But I tell people all the time that call me with FSHD, that want to know how they can get involved. I just say, whether you give to the Carrino Foundation or Friends of FSHD Research in Seattle or FSHD Society, it makes no difference to me. I just want you to get involved with something FSHD specific, because if that's important to you, then give to one of the organizations that is working specifically to cure FSHD, because the path to a treatment and a cure for FSHD is going to come through one of these organizations, and all of them. So I always look at us as brothers and sisters, and whether or not you give to the Carrino Foundation, or I implore everybody out there watching right now, give to the FSHD Society. It is imperative, because you saw what happened. Now we're talking about vaccines and things with COVID. When you put that much attention and money into something, medically, pharmaceutically, it happens quickly. And and we need that right now.
We sure do, man. We sure do. But you're right; it can be done. Your words today, very inspiring. I really appreciate your time, all the effort you put into this, being the face of it. I remember the first time I learned that the voice of the Nets had what I had. I was like, "What?" It was almost. I don't want to sound bad, but it was almost like, that's kind of cool. Like, he's doing this radio thing, and he's got this. Like,
and you know what, Tim? I'm conscious of that now. I don't know how conscious I was of it 10 years ago, but you know, even I had a young man at a camp that I did, who had cerebral palsy and was in a wheelchair, and came up to me and he said, 15-year-old say, I want to be a sportscaster.
Yeah.
And I never thought I could do it, but then I saw you, and that's why I came to this camp. And I mean, that's really powerful. The new general manager of the Miami Marlins, who is the first woman general manager, first Asian American. She said a thing recently as being the first of all these things, and she said, sometimes there's a kid out there, you need to see it to be it, and if people can see it and see someone going through what they're going through, or someone similar to them, now they feel they can be it and they can do it. And that's really powerful, and that's important. And I think everybody should strive to do that.
Well, thanks, Chris, for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for participating in this radiothon, and really appreciate your time and all your effort.
Tim, thanks for all you're doing, and have a great day. I know you got a long day in front of you, so thank you. Right. Thank you very much for everything you're doing today. Appreciate it. Great to talk to you.
You too.